Today we have to discuss about bar graph. This is an introduction video for exercise 3.3 from NCERT for class 7th. So starting with the introduction of bar graphs. What are bar graphs actually? A bar graph is a representation of numbers using bars of uniform width, and the length of the bars depend upon the frequency and the scale you have chosen. So whenever we need to represent a certain number or a value, we are using bars for representing that number or value, and that particular value is dependent upon the frequency. Frequency is what? Frequency is the number of times a particular number or a value has repeated itself. Okay, and the scale that we are choosing, because according to the scale only we have to mark the values, we have to take the length of the bars according to that scale, and we have to represent those bars on a graph. Now this method is used to represent data visually. Why we are representing data visually? Because data given in the form of pictures are more easy to understand, they are easy to retain, and we can easily figure out what are the changes or what are the changing patterns in the comparison between two different kinds of things. Now these graphs usually compare different categories. Means what? We can be having, suppose, comparison between the marks of the students, or the difference between the sales of a particular thing in different years, as such. And there are various examples where we can use these bar graphs for comparison between different things. Now these bar graphs can be plotted vertically or horizontally. Vertically like this, having orientation like this, and horizontally having orientation like this. Now when the vertical bar chart is there, it has another name known as the column chart. So if it comes with the name column chart, we should understand that we are actually talking about the vertical bar graphs only. Now we need to know that what is the importance of these graphs. Again, bar graphs are extremely effective visuals to use in presentations and reports, because again they are eye catchy, easy to understand and all. They are popular because they allow the reader to recognize patterns or trends far more easily than looking at a table of numerical data. Because it's obvious that the textual form of information or numerical form of information given in the various tables and all are difficult to understand. Comparatively, they are difficult to understand, and they're time consuming also. And as if we talk about bar graphs, instantly just looking onto the picture, just looking onto the bars, and we can easily compare, or we can easily get the information that we need to know from the particular bar graph. So instead of going with the textual information or the numerical data present in the tabular form, it is better and convenient also to use bar graphs for such representations. Now, why would you use a bar graph? Bar graph is used to compare things between different groups or to track changes over time. Means what? Suppose we have taken an example for the sales of a particular commodity or item in a period of time. Suppose every year or every consecutive years we are analyzing that what was the actual sale in that particular year. So with that span of time, we can have a different value for associated with each year, the different value for the sales for each consecutive year, and accordingly we can have a comparison amongst the sale we have done in the various years. Now if we are trying to measure changes over time, then the bar graphs are best, because are best when the changes are larger, because it is obvious that when we are comparing and the changes or the differences are more, then it is easy to figure out. That's it. Okay, now how can we plot these bar graphs? So for plotting these bar graphs, we need to draw two lines perpendicular to each other intersecting at 0. Why we are using this as 0? Because generally we plot a scale on y-axis, and this 0 will mark as the beginning of that scale. Okay, it is not necessary that we are starting the scale with 0 only, but Generally we suppose, or we tend to start the scale from 0, and this scale is to be drawn on the vertical y-axis, and horizontal x-axis is chosen to draw the bars. Okay, we are plotting the bars, or we are drawing the bars on the horizontal x-axis. Along the horizontal axis we have to choose the uniform width of bars. Okay, width is uniform, it is fixed, but we have to choose it, and whatever width length we have chosen, we have to keep it uniform for all the bars we are considering in that particular bar graph. And there should be uniform gap between the bars, and then we write the names of the data items whose values are to be marked. Okay, so we can see the next point as how can we choose the scale. I just now told you that we need to draw a vertical y-axis on which we are making a scale. Scale is generally, why do we use a scale? We use a scale to measure things, and here we are measuring the heights of the bars with the help of the scale drawn on the y-axis. So we know that a bar graph is a representation of numbers using bars of uniform width, and the length of the bars depend upon the frequency and the scale you have chosen. For example, in a bar where numbers in units are to be shown, the graph represents 1 unit for one observation, and if it has to show numbers in tens or hundreds, 1 unit length can represent 10 or 100 observations. Okay, let us take an example. Here, this is an example of a bar graph, a basic bar graph, where we can see that different bars has been used to represent students, and the height of these bars, you can see the height of these bars is representing the marks obtained by them in a certain test. Okay, so here we can see that child A has got 450 marks, so accordingly the height of the bar is drawn till here. Okay, because this mark is approximately 450. Now this child B has got 500 marks, so the height of the bar associated with child B is still here. See, we have taken the height till here, and how we are measuring the height of these bars? Using this scale. This scale is drawn on the y-axis, and we can see that 1 unit distance on this scale is representing 100 students. Okay, so it is very important to mention the scale. So scale for this graph is what? 1 unit distance is equals to 100 marks. Okay, now you can see child D has got 300 marks, accordingly the height of the bar is made 300 according to the scale. Then F got 360, G got 400, and H got 540. Now instead of going and checking the marks obtained by each and every student, if we have such a graph in front of us, then directly looking onto the height, we can analyze as who has got the highest marks. H has got the highest mark. Who has got the lowest marks? D has got the lowest marks. Okay, and several other questions can be answered based on this particular graph. Now for detailed information, let us go to the questions from the exercise. And the first question from exercise 3.3 is, use the graph to answer the following questions. Which is the most popular pet? How many students have got dog as a pet? So this is the graph from question number 1. Here we can see that on x-axis different pets has been mentioned, and each bar associated with the pets represents the number of students who are having those pets. So the vertical axis or the y-axis is representing the number of students, and the horizontal axis is representing the bars denoting different pets the students are having. Now, which is the most preferred pet? We can see that the highest height of the bar is this one, and this is representing cats. So cats are the most popular pet among the students. Now then the next question was, how many students were having dogs as their pet? So we can see that dog is here, and the bar associated with the dogs is this much, and the height is of 8. Okay, here we can see that the scale is 1 unit distance is of 2 students. Here the scale is 1 unit is equals to 2 students. Okay, remember this is the bar graph already given in the question, but whenever you are asked to draw the bar graphs, don't forget to write the scale. The scale is the most important factor, because if scale is not mentioned, you won't understand that what is the actually value for each particular graduations made on the scale. Okay, so don't forget to mention the scale associated with the y-axis. Now let us see the next question. Read the bar graph in figure 3.4, which shows the number of books sold by a bookstore during 5 consecutive years, and answer the following questions. About how many books were sold in 1989, 1990 and 1992. So let us see the graph over here. This is the graph associated with the sale of books in the 5 consecutive years, and we can see that in 1989 this bar is showing certain value. In 1991 this is the bar which is showing certain value, and in 1992 this is the bar, this one which is showing the number of books sold in 1992, and the scale is also mentioned that 1 unit is equals to 100 books. Now the number of books sold in the year 1989 is about 180. Okay, someone may say it is about 180 or 175. It can be up to you, because the scale is not very clear in this, because graduations between 100 and 200 is not mentioned clearly. So approximately you will have to give idea. It should be nearly 200 but more than 150. Okay, so I am considering 180 or 175 also you can take. Now in 1990 it is about 1990 is this one, so it is not touching 500, but it can be assumed somewhat or nearby 490. If some students are writing it as 495 or 485 or 480 also, then also it's okay, because scale is not very much clear. So just an approximate value you have to give. Fine. Now in 1990 it is about 490, and in 1992 it is about 295. Same way, in 1992 we can see here it can be 280 also, or 295 also. Approximate answer only you have to give. Okay, now the next question related to this graph is what? In which year there were about 475 books sold and about 225. So we can see that 475 must be this much, this one, this particular bar of 1990, we can say that about 475 books were sold. So in 1990 about 475 books were sold, and what about 225 in 1992? So this bar is what? Representing 1992. So certainly this value is more, okay, and this value is lesser, and we are asked about 225 books. So more than 200, this particular bar can be preferred for giving us the value about 225. Okay, so 225 books were sold in 1992, and again I am stating this is just an approximate value, not the exact one. Now the next question. In which year were fewer than 250 books sold? So less than 250, we can see that this bar can be termed as less than 250, and this can also be termed as less than 250, because just now we said that approximate value for this particular graph is 225. So we can say that fewer than 250 books were sold in the year 1989 or 1992. Okay, then the last question related to this graph is, can you explain how would you estimate the number of books sold in 1989? So again we can see approximately it can be 175 or 180 or anything, a nearby value. Okay, approaching 200 but more than 150. So on y-axis the line divided into 10 small parts of 10 books each. So we can estimate the number of books in 1989 is about 180. Okay, so with this we can come on to question number 3. What is question number 3? The number of children in 6 different classes are given below. So this is the table given along with the question, and we have to represent this data on a bar graph. Means what, the first two questions were based on the analysis of data based on the graphs already given along with the question, and now we have the data given with us and we have to use this data to draw the bar graph. Okay, this time we have to draw the bar graph ourselves. So first of all, how would you choose the scale? So definitely we have to analyze that what kind of data has been provided to us. So we can see that the data is varying from 80 to 135. So in the multiples of 5 or in the multiples of 10 we can choose the scale. So we are choosing the scale on y-axis as 1 unit is equals to 10 children. Okay, number of children has to be put on y-axis, and we can say that 10 centimeter or 1 centimeter or 1 unit is equals to 10 students. Okay, don't forget to mention whether it is 10 students or 10 people or 10 children. Okay, just mention the scale properly. Now the next question is what? Which class has the maximum number of children and the minimum? So you can see the various heights. 135 was the number of students for class 5th, and that's why the height of this particular graph is taken till here. This value is representing 135. Then class 6 is having 120 students, class 7th is having approximately 95 students, so the height is taken till here. Then English is having 100 students, 8th is having, class 8th is having 100 students. Then class 9th is having 90 students, and class 10th is having approximately 10 students. But why we have shown a kink over here? Because if we are plotting the scale in the multiples of 10, then it will take a larger space to cover, which will not be able to then we will not be able to accommodate the complete scale on this page only. So that is why we are using this kink, and this kink is representing that the values from 0 to 80 are contained in this limit only. Okay, so the class 10th is having 10 students, 80 students. So we are starting our scale from 80 only, and the rest values lesser than 80s are included in this kink only. So this kink is only represent to merge the values which are not shown in the scale. So now we come on to the question that which was the class having the highest number of students. So that was class 5th, because the highest or the largest length of the bar was for class 5th, and the smallest was for 10th. So looking onto the height, I analyzed that class 5th has the maximum number of students 135, and class 10th has the minimum number of students 80. Now the next question is what? Find the ratio of the students of class 6th to the students of class 8th. So first of all, see what is the number of students for class 6, it is 120, and what is the number of students for class 8, that is 100. So when we are taking the ratio, we are taking the value for class 6th as the numerator and class 8th as the denominator. So we can see that the ratio of this comes out to be 6:5. So 6:5 is the value associated with the ratio of students of class 6 to student of class 8th. Okay, see 120 for class 6, and for class 8 it's 100. So with this question we end up this video over here, and the remaining questions of the exercise we will do in the next video.